Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Sunil Jain from Nirmal Bang joining us to discuss whether we should be subscribing to the Burger King IPO or not. Welcome to the show, Sunil. My first question coming to you is if we see the first day subscription, spectacular hit, I mean, it's a huge hit on day one itself. It got subscribed by almost around 3.13 times. And interestingly, it's mainly led by retail investors right now. You still have the HNIs, who are yet to come in. What would you make of this with the numbers that we are seeing on day one itself?
See, it's a very good IPO which has come up for investment for short term and long term both. In fact, we had given recommendation to subscribe to this
Mm,
IPO. See, why we are seeing retail so much subscription because one of the thing is that the size for the retail issue is quite small.
mm,
It's reporting loss at PAT level. So in that case, the allocation for retail investor is only 10% of the total issue size. The total issue size is 800 crores and 800 plus crores, and the 10% is just 50 crores. So three times is not a big thing. Amount wise, it is not a big thing.
mm,
It will subscribe hugely in overall, and it will be a more of a lottery system for retail and HNI also.
mm.
HNI also, it seems like it will be subscribing very heavily. So, because of the fundamental of this story from long-term perspective, and the pricing is attractive, we feel it will get good response.
Right. And overall, if you go to see with regards to where the issue goes, 450 crores is what they are, raising with regards to Feresh issue, and the offer for sale is around 360 crores overall. Now, if you talk about the objective, they're going to repay outstanding borrowings of around 165 crores, and the capex that they are going to incur is almost 177 crores. Now, taking this perspective into consideration, do you think the usage of funds is in the right direction? The reason why I'm asking this question is taking the current COVID situation into consideration, home deliveries are picking up versus people going and eating at restaurants. So, do you think incurring such a capex is feasible at this current point in time?
Uh, See, two parts in that. One is if you see their expansion of stores.
Mm,
So they were aggressive in expanding the stores in last 3 4 years. See, basically Burger King is a late entrant to the market.
correct.
They entered in 2014, whereas if you see Westlife or McDonald has entered in 1996, so long back. So they are late entrant and they need to run fast to catch up with the competitor. So they were doing that in last 3 4 years, and if you see last 3 year store expansion CAGR is almost 44%. That is very high. And because of that, they had reached to somewhere around 261 stores. Whereas if you see Westlife, they are in since 1996, and their store count is somewhere around 319. So they are reaching very near to that. And this long run, means this fast run, they are trying to continue even in next 4 5 year. So they want to reach to 700 restaurant by 2026. That is again CAGR of around 18-20% from here as well. So they want to run fast. Then that's why they need this money. In fact, the debt has also come because of their past expansion. So they will repay that debt, and For future also, this money will support, and I think it is very good strategy. And what we see that post this, the capital expansion may not be there after this raising money. So at a size, they will start generating free cash flow, and then operating cash flow they are anyhow doing right now. But after interest and all, they are a bit negative. But once they repay this interest, then there will be a free cash flow, and they will be generating that cash flow, and that can be deployed for even store expansion. So this money, along with cash flow generated from operation, can help that to expand it to 700 restaurant. So I think that is a very good strategy. And yeah, considering current scenario, yeah, when the first quarter was there, then there was a lot of uncertainty. Nowadays, things has improved a lot, and I think in next 3 to 6 months, things will be much better. And in fact, anyhow, you said that home delivery is doing well, so they are there in the home delivery, and that part of the business for them is doing very well right now. So anyhow, what we see that they had reached to a level, and here again they want to expand very fast, and they want to reach to 700 restaurant, which will be a good size for them. If you see the chain industry itself, that is growing, that is expected to grow at around 19% CAGR in next 5 years. So to take the advantage of that, they are doing all this expansion, and I think they will be successful, and will do good expansion in that case.
Right. So, taking all of this into consideration and the investment rationale that we are following right now, what do you make in terms of where valuations are concerned? Do you think this is a candidate for listing gains, or do you think this is a candidate for listing gains as well as a long term investment? Or do you think we should wait for a couple of quarters to see some bit of sustainable recovery from a longer term investment perspective?
No, no. What I feel like, this is a candidate for first of all listing, and definitely, and then even on the listing also, one should not exit this stock.
Hmm.
You should keep it for a long-term portfolio. Why I say this? First of all, the valuation, if we compare it with Westlife Development, we don't want to compare it with Domino's, because that is a matured store
Right.
and doing very good profitability, and also that will be far off for that is the ultimate target. Maybe
Hmm.
in next 4 5 years they may be able to reach there, but not now. So Westlife Developer, if we compare, Westlife Developer, I said that they got restaurant of around 319, and they already reached to 260. This Burger King has already reached to 260. And if you see the store, if you see the gross margin for both the companies are more of a similar. Uh, Burger King do around 64 point something 2%, and whereas Westlife do around 65%. Even at EBITDA level, adjusted to Ind AS, is at around 12.5%, 12.4% versus Westlife is at around 13.8%. So they are reaching very near to Westlife Developer.
Right.
When we say that Westlife is growing stores very slowly in last 3 4 years, and grown their store just at 7% CAGR, whereas they are growing at 44% CAGR. So any store expansion doesn't become profitable from first year itself.
Hmm.
So considering that also, they are doing around 12.5, 4% of EBITDA is really remarkable. So what we see that definitely when these stores stabilize, they will be doing higher EBITDA than the Westlife Developer.
Hmm.
Uh, Even if we see their valuations also, they had given it attractive valuation. We will not be able to value it on basis of price earning and all, because they are not yet profitable and at our investment phase. So if we see the EV by EBITDA valuations. So right now they are trading at they are offered at around 24 times, whereas Westlife is at 32.5 times. So there is a bigger scope in to expand that and reach to Westlife developer level. Then, even if we see EV by sales also, they are at around 2.97 time or 3 times, whereas Westlife is trading at around 4.5 times. So that is also leaving a lot of scope for Burger King to expand. So if we see the parameter and all are more or less similar to Westlife and the valuations are attractive, and then we have a good expansion plan for Burger King in the coming next 4 5 years. So if we had seen past comparatively well, and if this sustained in next 4 5 years, then I think there will be a big opportunity for making money. So even if someone get allotment, one can look to keep the stock for a longer term. And even also, if someone doesn't get that, one should try to buy it around somewhere if they can get somewhere between 80, 85, 90 range. If someone get, then definitely one should buy and hold it for next 3 4 years. So they can make a good money in that.
Right. So it's basically valuations are seeming attractive at
Yes.
IPO level, and plus there is good leg room for growth as well as
True.
compared to
True.
peers in terms of valuations and financials. And very lastly, Sunil, overall, what are the kind of risks that could be associated with it? Because currently, if you go to see right now, especially from a franchise and cell phone perspective, I think majority of the branches are self-owned, if I'm not mistaken, and now they are going to go to the franchise route as well. Any risks that are associated on this front, and any other things that we need to watch out for?
See, first of all, they are not going for franchisee route right now because only 6 7 stores are there that is in franchisee. That is mainly because of the condition of the market. If you want to have a store in the airport, then there are some conditions where that's why they have to make it at a franchisee store. Otherwise, there is no plan of going for franchisee stores. They are planning to expand their own stores only. See, there are some risk in the business risk itself. Like if they are not able to, they are a master franchisee of Burger King International US. So there is a master franchisee agreement also, which specifically specify the number of stores which need to be opened every year. And if somehow for some reason they are not able to open those stores and even not able to meet out the conditions, like if they had a target of opening 50 stores in this year and they are not able to open, then there is some leeway ki in next 6 months you can do so much stores and all. And if they are not able to do that also, then there is a question on there could be some question on this agreement, and there could be question on the discontinuation of this franchisee by the parent. So that is a big one of the risk. I can't say big risk because these are all written agreement and there are always leeway. And up till now, they had always done more stores than the what was targeted in the agreement. So we don't see that as a big risk. Then definitely general risk which is applicable to all that, if the commodity prices increase, like milk prices increase, then that has an impact on them. Then other eatable item prices increase, then that can have an impact. Apart from that, rental I think has come down a lot, and which may help them in near term, but long term quite possible. If rental increases a lot, then that can have a negative impact on that. So all these are a bit negative, but nothing so great negative what we see in this. One point I would like to again say that why we think it's a long-term positive. See, the industry itself is likely to grow at around 18 19%.
Correct.
And plus, this company is doing aggressive expansion, and then there will be some. We see they want to expand the store itself by 17 18%, and then there will be some same store sales growth and price increase and all. So quite possible this company can grow easily by 25% CAGR for next 4 5 years. So that's why we think long term is quite attractive for them.
Absolutely. So I think from listing gains to longer term gains seems to be the trend from here on, at least for a Burger King. And I think after a very long time, we are seeing a IPO that's coming in the food and beverage industry as well. So that's something which is expanding the base for the markets as well. Thank you, Sunil, so much for joining us on the show. Thank you, participants as well. I hope our view from Nirmal Bang has been helpful for you all from an investment perspective. Thank you so much and stay safe.
Thank you very much.